Amanda Anisimova has reached 2 Grand Slam finals in the last 12 months. Alex Eala has never shared a court with her. In less than an hour on a hard court in Mason, Ohio, that gap is about to be tested directly. And something happened 3 months ago in a completely different city that makes the answer far less predictable than the ranking gap suggests. This is the story of how a 21-year-old from the Philippines went from a rain-delayed breakthrough in Washington, D.C., to a genuine crossroads match against the world number 10 at the Cincinnati Open, and why the next 2 hours will tell us more about her season than any result that has come before it. The story begins at the Mubadala D.C. Open, a WTA 500 event in Washington, where Alex Eala arrived ranked number 28 in the world. Over the course of the week, she defeated Qin Wenjung 4-6, 6-4, 6-1, then defending champion Leylah Fernandez 6-2, 7-6-1, before beating world number 10 Alina Svitolina 6-3, 6-4 in the quarterfinals, her 6th top 10 win of the season. In the semifinal, she defeated 4-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka 6-4, 6-2 to reach her first ever WTA 500 final. Waiting for her was top seed Jessica Pegula, the tournament's 2019 champion, who had beaten Eala the only other time they played a 3-set match at the 2025 Miami Open. The final itself stretched across 2 days. Pegula took the first set 6-4, and the match was suspended by heavy rain, and lightning with Pegula leading 6-4, 1-2. Play resumed the following day, and from that point forward, Eala did not lose control. She took the second set 6-4, then closed out the third 6-0, winning the last 9 games of the match and surrendering just 8 points in that final set. The final scoreline read 4-6, 6-4, 6-0. It made her the first player from the Philippines to win a WTA Tour singles title. Just pure happiness, she said afterward. Oh my gosh, winning a 500, it's insane. It's an incredible milestone for me. Her run through Washington also meant she was projected to break into the world's top 20 for the first time ahead of a U.S. Open. This was not a fluke result against a weakened field. It was a title won by beating 3 separate top 10 caliber opponents in a row, and it forced the tour to reconsider exactly how good this player already was, in real time, as the trophy was still being handed over. There was no time to rest on it. Eala traveled directly to Toronto for the National Bank Open, entering as the 25th seed. She needed back-to-back 3-set matches to get past Alicia Parks and Katie McNally, including a late-night epic against McNally, in which she also rolled her right ankle. That accumulated workload caught up with her in the 4th round against Belinda Bencic, the 12th seed and a former world number 4. Eala competed evenly through the first set, the 2 players trading games to a 4-4 deadlock, before Bencic pulled away to close at 6-4. The second set was worse. Bencic broke immediately, broke again to open a 3-0 lead, and finished the match without dropping another game, completing a 6-0 bagel. The final score read 6-4, 6-0, ending a 7-match winning streak that had been the longest of Eala's career. Afterward, she was candid about the toll the stretch had taken. I definitely will take maybe 2 days off, a day or 2. I do have to travel to Cincinnati, she said, before putting the 2 weeks in perspective. It's always tough after a loss, but I'm looking back at these past 2 weeks as a really big positive. I think I played really well. I've gotten through so many obstacles. The loss mattered less as a result and more as a signal. This was a body and a schedule running on fumes, not a game that had suddenly broken down. That set up her arrival in Cincinnati for the WTA 1000 Cincinnati Open, seeded 17th, ranked number 20. Her opening match against Romania's Elena Gabriela Ruse promised very little in the way of real answers, and it is worth being direct about why. Eala dropped her opening service game, then won 6 straight, breaking Ruse's serve 3 times to take the first set 6-1. She opened the second set with another break to lead 3-0 before Ruse called for a medical timeout to have her right ankle taped. Play was then suspended for lightning and rain, and during the delay, Ruse made the decision not to continue, handing Eala a 6-1, 3-0 retirement victory. This was not a real stress test. Ruse was visibly compromised for most of the match and never seriously threatened Eala's serve or her rhythm. What the scoreline did confirm was discipline under low resistance. 3 breaks of serve in a single set, and no signs of fatigue that had derailed her in Toronto just days earlier. I think that I was playing well. I think I felt the ball good, was really focused, and tried to keep myself in the zone. I think I did a good job of that, she told reporters afterward. She also addressed her opponent's retirement directly. A retirement is not the way you want to end a match. I wish her a speedy recovery. Injuries are not fun. The win also leveled her career head-to-head with Ruse at 1-1, avenging a 3-set loss in 2024 U.S. Open qualifying. But here is the honest problem at the center of this whole story. After 2 draining weeks, we still do not actually know what version of Alex Eala shows up in Cincinnati. The Ruse match was never built to answer that question. It simply postponed it by 1 round. Now the postponement is over. The next match is against Amanda Anisimova, the number 9 seed and world number 10, who advanced the 3rd round by beating Turkey's Zeynep Sönmez 6-2, 6-3. The two have never played each other. Anisimova arrives with a resume that dwarfs almost anyone Eala has faced this summer. Back-to-back Grand Slam finals in 2025 at Wimbledon and the U.S. Open, and a WTA 1000 title won in Beijing. Her game operates on an entirely different philosophy than Eala's, where Eala tends to construct points, using her forehand and her physicality to extend rallies and wear opponents down over time. Anisimova is built to end points early, taking the ball on a rise and hitting through it before a rally has any chance to develop. There is also a subplot worth addressing honestly rather than dramatizing for effect. Anisimova dealt with a persistent left wrist injury for much of the first half of 2026, withdrawing from Charleston, Madrid, and Rome, and missing the entire clay season before returning at the French Open in late May. After a 4th-round loss there to Diane Parry, she was asked directly whether the wrist had affected her performance, and she denied that it had. Whether that injury carries any residual effect into a hard court match in Cincinnati in August has not been reported on since, in either direction. It is a genuine unknown, not a storyline to lean on, and it deserves to be treated as exactly that. What is not in question is the shape of the tactical puzzle Eala is walking into. Her forehand has become the defining weapon of her season, the shot that has repeatedly allowed her to seize control of extended points against players ranked well above her, including 2 separate wins over Svitolina by the identical scoreline of 6-3, 6-4, first in Berlin, and then again in Washington. Anisimova's 2-handed backhand sits on the opposite end of the spectrum, one of the most feared shots in the women's game specifically, because of how much time it takes away from an opponent before a rally even settles into a pattern. The contrast in styles means this match is unlikely to be decided by raw power alone. It will more likely be decided by who controls the length of the point. If Anisimova can consistently close out exchanges in the first handful of shots, she is playing on her own terms. If Eala can drag rallies out, forcing kind of extended baseline battles that carried her past bigger names all summer, she creates exactly the conditions that worked against Svitolina, Osaka, and Pegula. Neither player's tendencies against the other exist yet in any measurable form, for the simple reason that they have never faced off. What does exist is a body of evidence on each side. Eala has beaten 6 top 10 opponents in 2026 alone, most of them through patience, construction, and a willingness to grind rather than blast her way through points. Anisimova has built 2 Grand Slam final runs largely by denying opponents exactly that kind of time. Serve is likely to matter just as much as either player's signature ground stroke. Eala's left-handed delivery has grown into a real weapon this season, and her return game in particular has been a difference-maker in matches like the DC Open quarterfinal against Svitolina, where she held a 24-13 advantage in return points won across the full match. Anisimova, for her part, has had stretches this season where her own service games have wavered under pressure, though no confirmed statistic yet exists from inside the specific tournament to say how consistent that pattern has been in Cincinnati. Both players also arrive with very different physical stories behind them. Anisimova has had the benefit of a normal tournament schedule heading into this 3rd round, a straightforward 2nd-round win over Sönmez with no long delays or extended sets. Eala, by contrast, is carrying 3 weeks of nearly uninterrupted tour tennis, a title run, a draining exit in Toronto, and a walkover-style opener in Cincinnati that offered match time without any real physical test. Whether that workload becomes an asset in the form of rhythm and sharpness or a liability in the form of fatigue resurfacing at the worst possible moment, is one more layer of uncertainty sitting on top of the stylistic puzzle. Pulled back from the tactics, this match represents something genuinely different from anything Eala has faced during this North American swing. The wins over Zhang, Fernandez, Svitolina, Osaka, and Pegula in Washington were, for the most part, victories over players whose games shared some baseline familiarity with the extended rally tennis Eala favors. Anisimova does not offer that same shape at all. Beating her would not simply be another line added to a growing list of top 10 scalps. It would be evidence that Eala can solve a genuinely different style of opponent, not just overpower the ones whose games already suit her. There is also a stakes layer beyond the scoreline itself. Eala's rise this year has become a defining story for Philippine sports specifically, with the nation's flags a visible presence in the stands throughout her Washington title run, and her fan base growing with each new milestone, from becoming the first Filipino player to reach the fourth round of Grand Slam at Wimbledon earlier this year, to now become the first Filipino WTA Tour singles champion in history. A win over Anisimova would not erase what already happened in Washington, regardless of how this next match ends. That title is secured, permanent, and already written into the record books. But a win here changes the surrounding conversation, from she had one extraordinary week to she can compete with the very best players in the world, regardless of the style they bring. A loss, by contrast, would not diminish the DC Open breakthrough in any way. It would simply mean the floor of her season remains Washington, while the ceiling against the Tour's genuine elite stays an open question for now at AS for how it actually plays out. The version of Eala that has shown up for most of this season, the one that ground down Svitolina twice by identical scorelines and came back from a set down against Pegula in front of a full stadium, has repeatedly proven capable of winning longer, structured battles rather than quick, clean ones. That points toward a 3-set contest as a more likely outcome than a fast result in either direction, with the match probably turning on how often Eala can convert points into extended exchanges instead of allowing Anisimova to close them out early and often. Whichever way it breaks, both players are, in a very real sense, about to find out which one of them actually understands how to win the different kind of fight the other one brings into this match. Watch it unfold. And once the result is in, come back for the full breakdown of exactly how it happened.